man, when those guys you get to be 40, 45 years old and you're mugging them cows, you kind of start thinking about life a little bit.
Yeah.
What's going to happen when I get crippled? Because I get crippled a whole lot easier than I did whenever I was 25.
People have no idea how much work it takes on the committee side of it. Most people don't have any idea.
Yeah.
I've done a few where I've done the whole thing, the tended to the gate, the ground, from start to finish. I don't want to do that.
Man, there's so much to do right here at home. I mean, there's so much opportunity right here where without having the overhead of going to New York or to, Montana or wherever wherever you got to go to try to chase those rodeos and keep things afloat, we can stay right here and enjoy ourselves.
Welcome back to the Wealthy Cowboy Show. Today, got a real treat for you again. Got Bob, a national champion of Champion Rodeo Company. They've got deep roots in rodeo and the production side and the contestant side and the ranching side of it. So I'm excited to get into all of it. How are y'all?
Good. Doing good. Glad to be here today.
Yeah. Glad y'all could come.
Yeah.
I think, I grew up, with you pretty much entering, and then y'all put on a lot of rodeos too back then, and we're just around each other all the time. But I think we need to start out kind of with the history of how it all got started, how your family got into it and all that.
My granddad, my dad's dad, he furnished time event cattle for the Wild West shows back in the 40s, and then done that for quite a while. And then my dad went in the rodeo business in the late 60s, and then he sold out. I was probably 8th grade or a freshman, I guess. He sold out, and then I graduated in 84, and I went in the rodeo business in 86. Been doing it ever since.
What caused him to sell out when he did?
Just kids, we was busy rodeoing and gone, and he'd be at a rodeo and we'd be trying to go to a rodeo, and that was probably the main reason.
Yeah, time. Has it always been based around Buffalo there?
Yes, yeah. They were originally from Spring, and where the Woodlands is now, they had that whole country leased. Every bit of where the Woodlands is now. They leased that country for years and years. And they took half of it and sold it, and then so they had to put a fence across it. And then that guy was wanting them to, do a quarter more, and finally they just said the heck with it. They come to Buffalo and bought some 300 or 400 acres of land, and just done away with the cattle down there and moved everything to Buffalo. Mm-hmm. And that's kind of where we're still at right now.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, my place is the original place the first place they bought.
And was it like back then? I'm sure you kind of know the stories, but like, where were they putting on rodeos? Was that back then? Could you go real far off, or was it kind of
no? They would. My dad was telling me that my grandfather would haul them in the back of a pickup, and they'd back up to a ditch and unload them and drive them to the tents or wherever they had their Wild West shows, and he'd make 2 or 3 trips, but it was all pretty close to there. The Houston area, Magnolia, Montgomery, around in there.
Yeah, I was trying to think of just where like a Wild West show would be, because I would think it'd have to be around a city or something.
Yeah.
So, and was it all just mainly based around rodeo, or was it like more of a ranching, and then they found another revenue stream of putting on the rodeos?
Yes. That they ranched and farmed a little bit, and and then use the cattle or calves, yearlings and stuff off their cows. Mm-hmm. Is where it actually all started.
Yeah, I bet back then it was pretty wild. About like I know Stephen Perry was saying that he just gathered the cows, stripped the calves off, hauled them to the calf rope, and
that's exactly where we got started.
Yeah. And then, so how did it evolve? Like when you got into it, you said you just got out of high school, and then.
Yep. I love the rodeo business. We was in it basically my whole life, and man, I participated and all that, but I cared more about the rodeo part, the putting it on and the bulls and the horses and all that. That's what I enjoyed more than actually participating. And I, never got over it after my dad sold out. And then, like I say, I went back in rodeo business myself. I went to Raywood, Texas. I bought 3 bulls. Did none of them buck. They looked good. They were the kind you should have, but didn't one of them buck. My dad went back down there with me the next week. They had a bunch of bulls turned out on some rice country, for the winter. And we bought like 8 bulls, I think, out of that deal. And 6 of them bucked. But had a red ball face bull there. It was on a set of 2-year-old Brayfords, but he didn't, stripe out. That sucker was all over that pen. I said, man, I don't fool with that thing. He's crazy. My dad said, you need to buy that bull. But I did, and that's probably the best bull I ever owned.
When you got into it, what year was that?
1986.
Were people already kind of breeding for that, or were you just going to get wild?
Very, very little then. Mm-hmm. Very, very little. My dad, he had bred some bulls, back in the day, and there was one of them black cows. She was probably a 3rd generation. We bred her back to a bucking bull and raised some heifers, and that's where I got my start on the cow, the breeding side of it. Mm-hmm. And then, bought 1 or 2 here and there, and then the coffees were basically all of our breeding. It was from up there in Oklahoma, the coffees. They'd been in, there was 3 or 4 generations deep in their program too.
Yeah.
They're the ones that raise Scat Cat. That's where Scat Cat originally come from.
Okay.
It's from the coffees.
I was trying to think like when you start, like what were you getting those bulls? Like, could you just get some out of the pasture off some crossbred cow kind of deal?
Yeah. Well, my dad, he bought a lot of bulls out of the country like that, just especially if a guy couldn't pen them, or, them farmers, they just, really didn't have no dogs, or, couldn't, well, they'd go catch them or whatever it took, and buy them and try them and got by with a lot of them.
Yeah. What was it like getting that kind of stock, like gentled down to where you could handle them?
Oh, it don't take long. You just waller them around there and, take them 2 or 3 places, and they kind of get in the routine, really.
Did y'all have a bunch of cow dogs and stuff back then?
Oh, yeah.
Kind of do all that stuff?
Yeah.
It sounds like a pretty cowboy operation. Just go get those stuff nobody else can gather and try to.
Well, back then it was way more so than today's time, because there is, they breed them so much. And like I say, when I was raising them, we'd use them cows in the cow milking. And I mean, they was the real deal. And you'd have to use dogs to pen them and do all that. But it got to where I could buy the bulls cheaper than I could raise them. So I kind of got, I got to putting black or yellow bulls on them cows and, just doing it like that because I could buy them cheap.
Right. But, was the cow milking big down there back then?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. There was 2 or 3 of them rodeos there that had cow milking, and they wanted them to have horns and be big and bad.
DX Trailer Sales is based out of Lubbock, Texas, and it's definitely not just a trailer dealership. If you are involved in the Western way of life, and if you're listening to this show, you probably are, they have something you need. From trailers for a day working cowboy to a full-time cattle hauler to hay trailers for a farmer or rancher to arena drags, rope and chutes, and feeders for the rodeo cowboy or cowgirl. They also deal in every kind of hay any of your animals could ever need. Literally anything you need for farming, ranching, or rodeoing, they have something for you. And it's going to be at a super affordable price. Besides all that, everyone you deal with there is super friendly and helpful. We just got new custom flatbeds built for our pickups, and I also got probably the coolest trailer you've ever seen built. And you can stay tuned for a video we're gonna do, and it's gonna show all of that and some more of their products also. So check out DX Trailer Sales on Facebook or dxtrailers.com. I remember probably like I was in college. One of the first years I made like a amateur 4th of July run. We, started in Amarillo, and I guess Teague was the last one, and y'all run those bucking cows through the chute there and run it, and that 2-man milk, and I was like, jeez.
It's pretty good watching.
Yeah.
Pretty good
and
watching.
As soon as you take the rope off, they'd clear everybody out of the arena pretty much.
Yeah.
And I know this past year, I don't know, was it Teague where they had those high horn cows again?
This year.
We're putting on one at Gatesville, but we're just going to use my Coriani cows.
Right.
having a hard enough time getting entries for those, I think.
Well, it got to where in the cow milking was kind of like the bull riding. You had to tone it down a little bit for several years. So the Coriani and the Longhorn deal got to where it was pretty popular. Try to get some entries back, and then when the younger generation come on, but that's there's a wave of those guys, and it's about a 15-year wave, and man, when those guys you get to be 40, 45 years old and you're mugging them cows, you kind of start thinking about life a little bit.
Yeah.
What's going to happen when I get crippled? Because I get crippled a whole lot easier than I did whenever I was 25.
Yeah. It seems like, just watching it, I've never mugged one of those, but it seems like the best place to be is on them.
Yeah.
Because as soon as you let them go, they're going to get somebody. What was it like when you had them wild cattle, I know like now I always see stock contractors trying to find bull riders and people to get on their stuff to get some outs on them. Was that hard, or was it easier to find cowboys that would do that kind of stuff?
When I first started, it was no trouble. I could make 2 or 3 phone calls and I'd have plenty of guys there to get on, back in the day. But the bull deal now has kind of got like the horse deal. They just come here bucking just like the horses come here broke. It's changed so much, and for the better probably, because it's a lot easier.
Yeah. What about the horses back then? Did y'all have like some big feather-footed type horses, or?
No, not really. When there was a guy right down the road that he had 8 or 10 horses and was getting out of the business, and I bought them, and that's kind of where I got my horse, start for my horses. And then today we was counting the other day, and I think there's 12 or 13 horses, out of 90 head of horses that we hadn't raised, over the years. So, and my goal is to get where I've raised every one of them.
Right.
And that's tough on the horses because they're not near like the bulls. The odds are slimmer.
Right. You go through them a lot faster.
Well, they just don't always make seem like the bulls are the odds are a little better on them bucking than it is. And a lot of them will buck. They just won't be good enough.
Right.
They'll fit somebody, but not, maybe some youth deals or something like that. But which I've been pretty fortunate. I really have. I hadn't had to get rid of 2 or 3 in the last 6 or 7 years.
Which in the horse deal, it's a lot different than the bulls. So where you can buck a bull 2 or 3 times in a weekend possibly and make them tough, a horse, it goes the other way because a horse is kind of naturally a domestic animal. So it's a lot easier to make a horse quit bucking than it is to make a bull quit bucking. So to say.
Yeah.
So like those horses, you'll hear a lot of those guys say, well, they don't start bucking until they're 7 or 8 years old and they may get 5 trips a year till they're done or whatever it takes to get them to the finals or whatever that they're trying to do. So we're a little bit different. We're a little bit tougher on ours. They kind of got to hit the truck. Yeah. And, but we do give them breaks and we rotate them. But a lot of our horses will get 2 trips, and we've got some horses that are just be really good at 1 trip. So like on a 3-day deal, we're allowed to buck some on Thursday and Saturday, and then got a set we'll buck on Friday. And depending on how far away we are and how much room and space and all that is, but the horses, you do got to take a little bit better care of them than you do of the bulls, and means of not bucking them as much.
Right. They'd eventually, just like a saddle horse, the more you ride them, the gentler and broker.
Yes, exactly.
Can they, like, if they start getting like that and you back off of them and give them a break, will they come back, or they kind of?
Most of the time they will, if they're bred to buck. Now, we have people send us saddle horses all the time, and 10% of them may make it. But the bucking horses, if you'll give them a break, it's kind of like an old sorry Mexican steer that you've been roping a while at your house. If you'll take him out there and turn him out for 30 days, let him forget about what he's been doing, get him back up, then most time he forgot whatever happened.
Yeah. What was it like? Your family was in it, so did you already kind of have a reputation when you got in it to get some rodeos and get started?
Yes. When I first started, I just kind of built a rodeo or 2, really. And Troy Byler called my dad one morning, and there was a guy that had forgot to put the date down or just forgot to do the rodeo as a YRA benefit deal. And that was the very first rodeo that I'd put on was in Groveton, Texas. And he called and that guy, like I said, forgot to come. And he said, hey, is there any way y'all can help us? So, well, we got together and stuff and went by Groveton, picked some stuff up. And it was at Conroe. Went down there and done just the bulls and horses. And then we got done just in time to get back to have the rodeo that Saturday night. And that was probably my start. Troy Byler probably gave me my start as far as, and then, I went back and got some rodeos that my dad had, and still doing them today, some of the same ones. But that one phone call was kind of my start.
Yeah.
Because there was a lot of people going to the YRAs and, that they was on committees and stuff like that. And it was,
kind of kicked you off, got your name out there.
It did, yeah.
At that time, the YRAs were big. They were like the CTYRAs whenever we
they were huge.
We've got videos of, we had them, cassette tapes of when they bucked bulls and horses and the whole 9 yards. Well, a lot of times at the youth rodeos, those kids at that time were getting on the same bulls that they were getting on at the amateur and the pro rodeos.
Oh, yeah.
And a lot of times it'd be the same kids, and the kids would make a better ride than the guys would at the big rodeo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But that was kind of what they say back when they bucked, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah. It seems like, just any of the, y'all know, I guess, but it seems to me like from the outside, really just the numbers are down on everything.
Yes.
Like you said, the junior rodeos used to be huge. Some big associations or just some big rodeos in general that you don't see as many numbers anymore.
Well, it's kind of like we talked about before we started. It all resorts back to money, and there's so many deals now that you can go to that offer so much money. You've got the American, or you've got the WCRAs, or you've got, these amateur rodeos, when the average added money is $20,000 a rodeo, that's getting it on.
Mm-hmm.
These guys are, they're to where they can almost stay home now and make a living. You may not get to go to the yellow buck and shoots, but you can still go make a good living for your family and enjoy doing what you're doing.
Right.
And a lot of times be off on Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday,
Mm-hmm.
But it all resorts back to money, and they're giving so much. Or those series, we're watching those youth series that we know so well go away. But they can add more money at the one-day youth deals or at the weekend rodeos because it only happens one time. Mm-hmm. So then those people have a year to get their money gathered back up,
right?
And offer that to the kids, because you can't go now. You cannot afford to go if it's not going to pay something at the end of it.
Mm-hmm.
It just takes so much money to operate. Just to crank your truck and leave, the entry fees is the cheapest thing that you pay. Really, now at the end of the month, you can pay your fuel bill or whatever, so it doesn't hurt up front.
Mm-hmm.
But your entry fees is the cheapest thing that you pay.
Yeah.
And it's like, man, if I can't, like the World Series, you go to the one that cost $150 or $250 to run one steer. Well, it took a little bit for that to kind of catch on. They're like, man, yeah, but I can win so much more money and rope against so fewer guys. And it's the same thing in the rodeo deal. It all revolves around money.
Yeah. That's what I'm helping put on the mugging and the milking there. And I jack the fees up, and I've put on a couple of ranch rodeos and stuff. And it's like, I'd rather have less people and higher fees, and then it pays more money and it pays the producer more also. There's more money in general there.
Well, and less overhead, less liability too, whenever you have less to use and to do too.
Mm-hmm. So what was it like getting started to start getting those rodeos back? And did you have like a goal of, I want to do this association or youth rodeos or amateur rodeos or pro, or like, how did that work?
Well, I kind of, my big start was the youth rodeos. That was kind of high school rodeos and, just the YRAs, the CTYRAs, it's kind of where I got my main start. And then, after a year or so, which my dad knew a lot of the committee people that he had dealt with, in previous years. And so that was a big help. So I didn't just start from being nobody,
mm-hmm.
And I would hate to have done that too.
Right.
But yeah, we kind of went back and got most of the rodeos that my dad had been doing in the past. So that, like I say, that was he more or less. Most people didn't even know it was mine. They just thought it was his, and all, which was fine with me. It didn't matter, just so I could pay the note. You know? But after the first year or two, it kind of really blew up and kind of took off too fast because I had to gather up more stock and more money.
It seems like that. Like anything is just not quitting. Like you said, it took a year or two, to kind of get going. I'm sure you're kind of questioning it sometime in there, like, is this worth it or not? And then once it starts rolling, it gets going. But in anything, like any new business that starts, it takes a little while to get going, and that's where most people quit. And if you can just hold out, and persevere, I guess, and it seems like it'll finally kick off.
Oh yeah,
just for the sake of not quitting, even if you're, not the best or whatever it is.
Yeah.
What did it look like then? Were you? I know you said you were like kind of starting some rodeos up. Like, did it start just providing the bucking stock and then it grew, or were you doing the whole rodeo, or did you kind of mix?
I've done every bit of it. I had bulls, horses, calves, steers, and did for years. There's no telling how many of them calves that I've went through, roping calves and steers too, really. But I did every bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of times we'd go to some of them deals, they'd take 2 straights in a pot, to put them on. They're not as big today, just like you said, things is kind of backed up. But there's been a lot of rodeos I've had 2 straights in a pot and a gooseneck.
Mm-hmm.
Or 2.
Yeah.
And were you doing like the whole the hiring the clown or the entertainment, like doing that whole deal too also?
Yeah. Most of the time, you hire the announcer and the funny man, judges, pickup men, bullfighters and all that stuff. So yeah, it was, but there's so much more different, in what today, a lot of times the committees will hire and stuff. There's just so many different ways to go about it.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, when I first started, I pretty much done everything.
Yeah. I was thinking that when Dad was a part of the riding club there, that y'all, they just paid y'all a fee and y'all did the whole thing, and they just had to worry about the concession stand or whatever.
Exactly.
And that's the best. That's the thing that we found to be the best for the committee, because they've already got enough going on, gathering up the added money and then keeping the arena in shape. And because 95% of those guys have day jobs too. I mean, there's very few spots that we go to that they just into that rodeo, but most of them are all volunteers. So they're all doing something in the evening or at night, or, after they're trying to get their stuff done. So the turnkey deal for us is the best. And whenever we show up, we try to put as little worry on those committees as we can. Because it's just like, when we show up, we want to do the whole thing. And, y'all don't have to worry. If y'all want to be a part, you're more than welcome to be a part. Mm. But don't feel like that. If y'all want to go over there and enjoy your cold beverage at the concession stand, y'all can do that. Just enjoy yourself because y'all worked all year to get to this point.
Yeah.
People have no idea how much work it takes on the committee side of it. Most people don't have any idea.
Yeah.
I've done a few where I've done the whole thing, the tended to the gate, the ground, from start to finish. I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it's plenty of work in itself.
It is.
Let's be honest. Ordering custom merch is way harder than it should be. You get some random sales rep who thinks ag is short for aggressive. They slap your logo on a boxy tee no one wants or the same cap that your competitor has, and then hit you with surprise charges for artwork, setup, and who knows what else. That's why I've been working with Brand Cowboy. They actually live in the ag, western, and outdoor world. No artwork fees, no setup fees, and they know what looks good because they're part of the culture. They're not faking it from an embroidery shop in the big city or screen printing shirts in their brother-in-law's garage. We're even building Wealthy Cowboy Show merch with them right now, and it's been awesome. They made it easy, fast, and actually fun. And if you want more than logos on blanks, they've got full cut and sew capabilities built from scratch, custom fabrics just for your brand. Private labeling inside and out. Head to brandcowboy.com and book a call. Mention Crockett and get a free 30-minute consultation on how you can build merchandise that your customers will actually want to wear and at such a high quality you could offer it for sale no matter what industry you're in. Brand Cowboy. Made for you, made for your brand.
There's so much that goes into getting to the rodeo, much less having to worry about the rodeo, if that makes sense.
Yeah. Have you put on any that like you did, like you said that, but also like went and got the sponsorships and all that, like just from the, I guess, ground up?
I have done one or two. And that's why I respect the committee people.
Yeah.
Because I have, but very, very few, and I hope it's not any anymore.
Mm-hmm. How did it start evolving? Were you were picking up, like you said, the junior rodeos and some of those old rodeos? Did you start branching out or different associations or anything, or how did you start growing?
Yeah. Well, a lot of the time when my dad was in rodeo business, it were just open rodeos. There weren't hardly any associations. There were some, but not really in our area.
Not like the UPRA and all.
Yes. And then I guess probably the third or fourth year that I was in, I got in the CRA, which is the UPRA now, and then TRA, which kind of the combined with the UPRA. Well, about 2 or 3 years into my deal, and they had a big blow up in the TRA, and they changed all that, and then they went CPRA, and I was scared to death because I didn't know what was going to happen, and with all these changes and all that stuff, it was just fine. I mean, it worked out. The CPRA, and matter of fact, there was 6 or 7 of us contractors. See, it was myself, Lynn Bottom, Gene Smith, Billy James, Johnny Ackles, maybe 1 or 2 more that started the CPRA. That's how it got started. We all put so much money in to get some money in the bank to have an association, and it's done well.
Yeah. Did you ever get into the pro rodeos at all?
No. I mean, that's a great organization, but I just had never really interested me.
Yeah, it seems like it's super hard to get started now.
Yeah.
I know a guy that is trying to kind of get into it and has before, and the stipulations, it just costs a lot of money to ever get started.
Right.
Seems like they're not, I guess, incentivizing new people to come in. I guess the old people want to just keep their deals going.
Right. Well, and it's just like anything. There's so much politics, and not just rodeo and everything you do. It's all, it's so political, and it's hard to kick the big guys out or get what they've got.
Yeah. And the whole time, I mean, that's got to be like a major chore, I would think, to not only you're trying to go out and book rodeos and handle the rodeos, but you're going to have all this stock standing at home and the logistics of getting them back and forth. I mean, how is all that?
It can be pretty hairy sometimes.
Especially having full-time jobs on the other side, on the back side of it.
Yeah. It's a little easier now. I don't really have a full-time job, but
what were you doing back then?
We worked at the coal mine there at Jewett. We had the reclamation contract. We've done that about 25 years, and it's kind of funny. I guess I followed my dad's footsteps. I've done everything that he done, and he had it for probably 15, 16 years, and then he retired, and I bought it from him, and then I done it for, basically till they kind of, close the mine and stuff down, which is still going on now, the reclamation part of it. But we had, I don't know, probably 25 or 30 farm tractors, and, which they had to all be cab and because of the regulations and stuff. But but it was good to us. It kind of let us do what we wanted to do. Rodeo.
What did that consist of? Like the reclamation deal? What were y'all?
We'd bale hay, plant grass. I mean, thousands of acres. We'd bale 18,000 rolls a year, and we use the hay to sling back out on the ground, use for mulch, and crimp it in the ground, keep it from washing, because most all of it was sandy and slopes.
Basically, make imitation roots.
Yeah, but We planted
But what
acres
he's
and
not
acres of
telling
grass.
you is what all else they were doing and all that too. So at one time they had the reclamation, they had a restaurant, they had 2 feed stores and the rodeo company, and then we had 250 cows turned out. That was all at one time for about an 8 to 10 year span there that he's leaving out.
Yeah.
I kind of want to forget all them times.
That sounds like not very much sleep and
There was very, very little sleep.
a lot of talking on the phone, a lot of driving.
Yeah. A lot of gray hair.
Yeah.
There's 3 or 4 boys that are, or I say boys, they're men now, but that are my age that they'll barely even wave at us on the road. They're afraid we're going to stop and ask them to do something because they lived at the house, whether they lived there or not.
Yeah.
There were several years there that we had plenty to do. Plus, at that time, I was trying to rodeo, so we were trying to rope every night. So
No, it wasn't no trying. We did rope every night.
and we all enjoyed to rope steers, so that's what we for sure rope steers at night. But he'd make me bulldog or rope calves when the sun was still up, and then we would go feed a lot of times or do whatever or fix or do, and then we'd come back and rope steers almost till it's time to go to school next morning. That's what I try to tell my boys. They're like, Dad, it's hot. And they're like, Dad, it's hot, or we don't want to do this. I said, y'all don't have no idea. I said, well, we did it because we loved it, because we wanted to, and we craved it. I mean, we craved going to the rodeos, and you had to do all the other stuff that they had going on in order to be able to go to the rodeos.
Yeah, you get tired of going to the rodeos and just getting beat, so you're gonna either quit or learn to practice.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Well, that and a lot of times we were having to break in cattle or do whatever to keep the rodeo deal good too. He'd get them calves in, them pot loads of calves in from Florida, and when I was just a mere child whenever he was doing that. But I remember we would break those calves in, or guys would show up, and I mean, it was a different world.
Yeah. I mean, that's a chore in itself, breaking them calves and getting them all tied down and
keeping them alive.
Yeah, that too.
I mean, because there'd be a lot of times he'd get them in, and a set would be too big, and then we'd get them in. Well, they didn't get a 30 or 60 day to straighten out. I mean, we kind of had to go to using them. So, and then at night after all this stuff, we was trying to shine a light on them and get a look at them, to make sure that what was healthy and what wasn't healthy. And it's pretty. It was a wild time. At that time.
What did you find on those, taking care of those light calves? Did you find a different way of doctoring them or taking care of them that kind of kept them alive? It seems like the rodeo guys, figure it out eventually.
Well, there's times that there's nothing works, but what I found worked best for me was I'd put terramycin in the water, make them drink it all down, do that about 2 or 3 days, and I had better luck with that than probably any other medicine. I've used everything that you can use. Now I haven't bought my calves in several years. I use Jeff Yates, but because he's in the business, and but I mean, I have had a lot of them in the past, but lots of them.
Yeah, it seems like to that point, like if you're not going to pretty much go all in and have a bunch of them, it's not worth just having a handful of them.
Right. When the Wilfongs moved in across the interstate from us, that helped a whole lot because I'd take them calves over there and they'd break them in, or Chick, and them, he was roping a lot in and break them in. So that helped a good bit, but because it's work. I mean, it's work.
Yeah.
It's more work than fun.
Yeah. Yeah. Everybody wants to go flank and tie a little bit when you're practicing or something, but when you're going to,
not the freshest.
Yeah. When you're going to do that and do it over and over and as much as you want, then it turns into more of a job. That's what a guy was telling me the other day that had some calves. He's been doing some rodeos, and he's like, and it's probably the same deal as any of the other events. He said, man, it's hard to even get guys to come over here and break them in.
Oh, it is. Yeah.
And it's just another chore. I guess how times have changed or whatever.
Well, and everything's so fast now. I mean, they're gone. I mean, they're having to, they're either rodeoing or they're working or they're leaving work going to a rodeo. I mean, it's just within 15 years, I know of what we do. Man, the way this world has sped up is just unreal.
Right.
Unreal.
I think, that's probably a big part of it too. I'm sure you've seen it. Like, it would just seem like there'd be some regional rodeos or something, that were real big and or a couple associations or whatever that somebody go to. Now there's just something pulling you in all different deals, and especially if kids play sports too. And then
Yeah.
I mean, just us. We have a few things going on, but I mean, we're going somewhere all the time. Like to be, especially the summertime, like now, it feels like being home is a vacation instead of being gone.
Exactly. Yeah, we've been gone 2 weeks. We just got home Sunday night, which he went to Leon, Iowa, and I went to Amarillo and
Fort Worth. That's
Fort Worth on Monday, Tuesday, and
that.
Amarillo Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and then got back home, unloaded, reloaded, went to O'Donnell.
Mm-hmm. Y'all were putting on rodeos there?
Yes.
Yeah.
And you said Iowa?
Leon, Iowa. It's one of the biggest amateur rodeos in that part of the world. It's really as big as a pro rodeo. I mean, it's absolutely unreal. We love all the rodeos that we do. I mean, because everybody's so great and they put their heart and soul into them.
Mm-hmm.
And I tell those guys, and I tell our other committees, I'm like, those guys, just the nostalgia of that rodeo, but because the fans up there, they can't go 15 miles down the road and watch a rodeo like we can here in Texas. So Saturday night there this year, it was raining straight down, and I could be off, but it's going to hold somewhere between 4,500 and 6,000. They've got box seats around the top that they get passed down when somebody dies. They get passed down in the wheel. I mean, it's a ordeal. It's a building without having a roof on it.
Mm-hmm.
But those people up there, I mean, what I was getting to is it was raining straight down Saturday night. And I mean, like lightning in the distance. In Texas, they'd be like, hey, let's give it a minute. These rednecks in Iowa, they did not care. I mean, they had they come in there about 5 o'clock and the rodeo starts at 8, and they go to putting their tarps down, or they go to sitting in. They pull their tarps up from where they've had them sit on those seats to reserve their spots.
Mm-hmm.
Well, as it goes to rain, these people are just picking these tarps up. There's 20 people under a blue tarp. They're holding this tarp up over them. They don't care. I mean, it was still at 3/4 capacity, raining straight down, looking at the lightning over their head. I'm like, boy, how smart are we? But that's what, talking to those fans whenever we're done there, they're like, man, we don't get to see nothing like this. Like, we're not blessed like we are, where, man, if it rains this weekend and we want to go watch a rodeo, well, we can just wait till next weekend and go 15 miles down the road and go watch another one,
mm-hmm.
you know? And that's why that's a lot of reason why come they sell out up there. I mean, why the people there's so many people there to watch the rodeo.
Yeah.
And they do a good job with entertainment too up there.
Do y'all have several rodeos far off like that, or?
We're getting further and further.
Yeah.
The like the ones in O'Donnell and Amarillo, I mean, those are 6 to 8 hours away from us. And we do a lot up around we do Graham, Wichita Falls, and Nocona, and a lot in Henrietta, a lot in that kind of that central northwestern, I guess you'd call it, area. And it's just the way that it fell, truthfully. We kind of went up there with one, and then it just turned into several more. We like it up there in that part of the world too. I mean, everybody, not that we go anywhere that we go that people are not appreciative, because they are, but it's just like it seems like those people really appreciate the job that you do. And it's enjoyable to go do those rodeos, even though they're so much further and a lot of work, and you got to go a day before and leave a day later. But it's a different world, and that's a lot of it. It's just a different experience than we have at home.
Mm-hmm.
Henrietta, Texas, it's a lot like the deal of Leon, Iowa. It's pretty much the same.
Yeah.
That's that. I don't know if somebody hadn't been to Henrietta, they need to go.
Yeah.
It's
Texas,
really
it's an experience. And their
parade is unbelievable. It's nearly like the Macy Day parade.
Yeah. Oh no, it is. I mean, it's just like the Macy Day parade. And it goes one block, and I bet it takes 4 hours to get around that block. Yeah, with all if you're an hour late to get into the parade, you're not going to get through town. I mean, it's unreal. Or
even be 20 deep to watch it.
Yeah, and that's a unique rodeo, because there's a 9-man board there, and every year three guys come on, 3 guys go off, so you don't get burnt out, and you serve 3-year terms, so everything's on 3s, and it's it's one to see, because those guys, they work their tails off, and they're running a week. Most all those guys either have a trucking company or a construction company, or they're in the insurance business, so they're running wheat cattle, or, I mean, those guys are busy too. And whenever they put them white shirts on and they're buttoned up, buddy, they are there to work. I mean, they'll have in the grand entry, I guess, they keep a count every night, the grand entry. And I think one year they had like 494 riding horses being ridden in the grand entry. The grand entry will take an hour itself. It's unreal. They have their own Something happened in the 80s or the early 90s, I believe they said. And so they've got their own, it's not a drill team, but it's just a group of guys that got together to set the pivots. And I mean, it's a big serpentine deal, and it'll be a snake through that whole arena. That arena's big too. But
yeah, and you don't see that much anymore, those grand entries. It seems like the ones that I go to, some still, it's like you must ride in the grand entry if you're a contestant, just to try to get some people. And most people still don't even do it.
Yeah, that was Junior Bonner days of Prescott. Those are days of the past.
Yeah, but I think also, I mean, it comes down to a lot of guys are trying to hit 2 or 3, or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Well, and you think about it, you have Joe Farmer that's riding in there that rides his horse once a year in the grand entry, and then you've got Trevor Brazil that's riding a $250,000 calf horse. Probably ain't gonna ride in there behind old Joe Farmer's horse, and you can't blame him. I mean, you can't blame him. But and a lot of committees have started to understand that they have. So we put some other form of entertainment right there. Mm-hmm. But
what is it you think? Like, how does a producer like set himself apart? Like when you're doing those rodeos, like how can you go to a committee and how can you do something different? Like in any business, it seems like you got to find what makes you different than everybody else.
Just try to be professional. I mean, just have good help, have good personnel. I mean, good announcer, good funny man. That's a big part of it. It really is.
When you shake a man's hand, you tell him you're going to do a job, you do that job. So if you can't do something that you say, or you can't provide a service that you say you're going to do, then don't say you're going to do it. Mm-hmm. And that's a lot of it. People would rather pay for less and get more than they, just like anybody would. But if you say you're going to do something, just do it. It's just like any other thing in business. We try to go above and beyond. Try to.
A lot of it too is your following. The amount of contestants that you get at your rodeo, and that's a big part of it, because a lot of people struggle getting contestants and stuff, and if you've got a good following, that's a big plus for you.
That would be, I mean, that's probably big on the rough stock side. It seems like those guys aren't going to come get on just some junker horses or bulls or something.
Exactly.
Is it like mainly word of mouth then, referrals, if people seeing y'all doing a good job or calling each other or something?
Just like I was talking about the YRA days, that kind of got me started, and we try to do a good job there, have good stock, and like I say, good help, run it fast, and just word of mouth. People, talk to you about it, and parents and stuff, which we had some really good kids in that deal. That was back in the Cody old days, and Trevor come some, and it just, the right people were there to see the right stuff.
Yeah, and it just all evolved. I mean, I think that's huge, is just the relationships, I think, and especially in the rodeo deal, that's got me a bunch of relationships growing up in that. And like you said, you get to talk to all walks of people from all over, and all that kind of stuff.
I had a guy call me, want me to go to Lexington, Kentucky to do a PRS event, take some horses. And, man, that's out of my circle. I don't believe I will. Well, we had the feed store then, so I went up there and I had somebody get on the computer and look it up, and it was like 16 hours. I thought, if I leave early one morning, I could get there at 10 o'clock. That wouldn't be too bad. So I called the guy back. I said, I believe I'll do it. And probably the best thing I've done. We went all over the East Coast. We went everywhere, South Dakota. We went all over the place, and it was a good experience, and good exposure for us.
Yeah, I think that was my mindset. Like when you're starting, I tell kids and stuff this all the time. Like, just say yes to everything.
Yes,
and I try to also keeping in mind staying focused on what I got going on now. But when you're starting out and you ain't got nothing going on, you might as well just go
Take
work,
a chance.
Go work for free, go work for low pay, or what. I mean, you never know who you're going to meet at the, or what other opportunities it could lead to. There's been lots of people sit over there and say that same deal, that they were working for somebody or something like that, and then the right person came along, noticed him working hard, and then it turned into a life-changing thing or something.
Yeah.
Are you tired of paying record high bull prices only to watch your new purchases damage themselves or your things, or even worse, stand in the shade and melt? 100th Meridian Ranching's bull leasing program offers a cost-efficient way to get your cows bred and creates more flexibility for you 9 months out of the year. With over 400 Black Angus, Red Angus, and Charolais bulls in inventory that are in range-ready, working condition, this could be the solution for you. Check out 100th Meridian Ranching on Facebook or Instagram, 100thmeridianranching.com, or give Lane a call to discuss more, 325-226-5240.
That's just like him starting doing the youth rodeos. I mean, that really nobody wants to do, doing the youth rodeos, and then what it's turned into now.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and we haven't gone pro yet. It's just, man, there's so much to do right here at home. I mean, there's so much opportunity right here to where, without having the overhead of going to New York or to, Montana or wherever wherever you got to go to try to chase those rodeos and keep things afloat. We can stay right here and enjoy ourselves. Because the reason we do this is because we enjoy it. There's no other reason. And why, I don't know. Because it's a lot of work.
Yeah.
I mean, day before and day after, or days leading up to it. I mean, and then especially whenever, like we've been double booked and stacked up for the past couple of weeks. I mean, when you get home, you're like, golly, it's good to have a break. But by Tuesday or Wednesday, you're like, man, we off this weekend? We got one. You kind of get the itch again.
Yeah. But
it's a craving. I mean, it's a craving that you're born with. I don't think that there's few people that have picked it up, but to crave like what we have, I think we were just born with it,
Yeah. Do you think somebody could just start from scratch today and make it work?
If you got enough money.
Just plenty of capital.
And
you got to have money.
You got to have the right mindset, because the romance of being in the rodeo company, just because you've got the stuff, it's an overturn, but it's not a big income.
Mm-hmm.
And it just takes so much, and it takes so much help. That's something we haven't talked about, is the help. And help is getting harder and harder to find. They joked forever. They said they had kids so that they would grow help. Well, I guess here I am, but I joke the same way. So now I've got 3 boys, and they're like, Dad, we think we want to go swimming or something. I'm sorry, you can when you're 18 or 19 or whenever you're on your own. But while I'm paying the bills, which they're 7 and 3, and then I got a baby. But I was like, no, y'all got to come go water the goats or go do something, because around the house it looks like old McDonald's farm. We're getting back into the youth deals, and man, got to have sheep, and you got to have goats, and you got to have them little calves, and it's just it's old McDonald's farm around there most of the time. So there's something that everybody can do.
Yeah.
If you can find somebody to do
it. What about like the entertainment and like figuring that out, how to draw a crowd and like, how is that? Are you always trying to think of ideas, or is it pretty much just hiring the right funny guy to be that guy? Or?
Well, the funny guy is a big part of it. And then we try to do something like we'll do a wild mare race. And we kind of got that from the O'Donnell bunch out there. They'd done that. We've had buffalo. We had a buffalo race. We've had.
I remember when y'all did 1 year. Y'all had somebody got on a buffalo and somebody got on a bucking horse out of the crowd.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. Just entertainment, and that's where rodeo's going today. It used to be a good old fashioned 2-hour rodeo, and them days are over. It's entertainment. Mm-hmm. We're in the entertainment business. And a lot of it too, you got to have the stock that fits the guys that are coming, and that makes a big difference. Or they're not coming. You slam dunk them 2 or 3 times, they're done. They ain't coming back. But they got to be good enough to be.
There's a fine line right there.
Yeah,
they want they've got to jump and kick and buck, but they've got to be floaters too. They can't be whether it's bulls or bucking horses or whatever. And you better have a good set of tournament cattle, or those guys aren't coming either. And it takes both ends. It's what a lot of contractors forget. They want to take care of your rough stock guys. Well, it takes both ends, because you've got to have those. It's kind of like auctioneer. He's got to have filler words. I mean, you got to fill it in with something. And you can't just buck 20 or 30 horses or whatever, not because you're not going to get them nowadays. They're just not there.
Mm-hmm.
So you've got to have those good time event cattle, and you got to have the entertainment. And just like the sheep, we've got the sheep riding that we put in there for the kiddos, and because grandma and grandpa, they buy tickets and they want to see them grandkids, and they're going to come watch them too. There's so many things, and things are so tight nowadays to where, it costs to go watch it, and I keep going back to money, but that's because it's the truth of it. But if they can come and get a 2.5 hour show and fulfill everything, they can buy the trinkets at the concession stand, or can get something good from the concession stand and then walk around and see the contestants and get entertained. Mm-hmm. They're going to come. They're going to come.
$15 or $20.
For $15 or $20.
What about you? Kind of tell us about your story. You got to grow up in that, and like, what was your perspective on it? And then like, what have you gone on and done?
Well, so man, my deal was I always wanted to be a cowboy, but I didn't want to be just a rodeo cowboy or an event cowboy. I wanted to be a cowboy. So forever, which my granddad had dogs and dad had dogs. And so I always tried to have a few puppies around or some dogs or something. Not that we penned lots of cattle behind them, but not that they're any good or anything to brag about. But that was my deal, man. I wanted to be a cowboy. So whenever when we had all them cattle, that was and they had all that stuff going on. I was fortunate enough to where I could just go feed cows or check cows or, pin them whenever we needed to move them around or whatever, and could take care of the rodeo deal. And it just kind of transpired from there. And then I got to where later on, which I've picked up, I guess, in the arena since I was 12. And to me, that's one of the most cowboy things you can do in the arena. And I loved to rope steers, and I liked to bulldog. I wasn't big enough for it. Didn't really like roping calves, but I did because I could. And then as I got on through college and everything, when I got out, that's pretty much what I was doing. I was day working, and started picking up actually hiring out whenever I was 17. I did it since I was 12, but hiring out whenever I was 17. And then
you went and did it for like other rodeo companies?
Yeah, I could go do it for other folks. I could take a handful of bucking horses and take some riding horses on a 32 or 36 or whatever, and could go do that. Not that I was probably needed to, because there's a time for all those things. And it's very, very dangerous if you don't have a pickup man or somebody that knows what they're doing. They're one of the most overlooked people in the arena, behind your announcer and your funny man, because they keep your arena flowing. Mm-hmm. Your pickup man. If you got a time limit calf that won't go out and he can't catch him, they're chasing him around down there. And that's simple, but it gets overlooked, and there's an art to it. There's an art to all of it. Makes those bucking horses last longer, makes those bulls do right. How many times have we been to a rodeo and we take 30 minutes to get a bull out of the arena?
Yeah.
But all that goes back to, like I was saying, I wanted to be a cowboy first. So through college, and I picked up and I day worked and did all those things. Well, then right out of college, I started doing it for a living. And then when I met my wife, that's all I've done since then. And I've worked at several sale barns. I worked several of the special sales. I worked for the Swartzes in Brenham. I worked for the DeCordovas in Buffalo, Tom Johnson. I worked a lot of those sales. And I got an itch for those sales at the sale barns because they're just like a rodeo. It's all runoff. It's all clockwork. You got a time frame and it has to work. Mm-hmm. And if you don't keep those people's attention in that ring, they're going to get up and walk out. If they walk out, you lose customers on both sides. So
I always liked the same, like you said. I always liked it. Well, one, it was like guaranteed. Those are happening every week. No matter the rain or cold or hot, whatever it was, and it was guaranteed income. You could count on that in between your day work and stuff. And then I don't know. I took a personality test one time. It said I thrived in chaos, and I just like you're going fast most of the time, and it makes the time go fast, and you're kind of sped up most of the time. Then you might have a little spot to rest or whatever, but right. Like going fast and a lot of stuff going on, sorting or whatever you're doing.
And I never in a million years wanted to be a sale barn hand.
Mm-hmm.
But it's like everybody that I worked for has either owned a sale barn or been a major part of it, and we've had that to do with it. I guess God's got a strange way of putting us where He wants us.
Yeah.
But I've grown to love it, and it's grown to be a part of my life, and it's taking care of me and my family.
Mm-hmm.
And it was kind of hard for my wife because my wife's from Canada. She's from Alberta, Canada. So we met through college, and it's kind of a culture shock for her when she come down here to our wild bunch. But if it wasn't for her, a lot of our circle wouldn't function. The same with my mom.
Mm-hmm.
The ladies in our life are they get overlooked a lot of times, and if it wasn't for them, it wouldn't be us. It wouldn't be what we do. But a lot of times they get overlooked. But we're grateful for those ladies. And going back to what you asked, my wife, that's a lot of reason why I do what I do, because she wants our kids to grow up in this lifestyle, because there's a nostalgia about it. And just like I've heard Joe Beaver say that, am I a cowboy? Yes, I'm tough. Am I a day working cowboy? No, I'm not. But a cowboy can mean so many different things to so many people. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times the way I look at it is it's morale. It's a way of life. It's a culture. It's how you treat people. There could be a guy that works in Wall Street, and he could have the mindset of a cowboy and do the things. Well, my book, he's a cowboy. Mm-hmm. He may not ever saddle a horse, but he has the morale and the ethnicity, the ethics that it takes to be that person. Mm-hmm. But like I said, it takes our wives to keep us lined out too.
Yeah.
I guarantee you.
Yeah. Have you seen those, like the deals, the pictures on social media? It'll be like, if it wasn't for women, this would be how guys live. And there's like no furniture, just a TV propped up or whatever,
I guarantee you.
I like nice things, but yeah, that's probably, I'd spend my money on different things if it wasn't for wife and kids.
My wife has probably made my horses better in the past 10 years that we've been together, because, man, I rode lots of horses out of Elkhart Horse Sale and out of Cleburne, and we picked up on them, and that's what we used. And she's like, hey, where we're at, you can ride a better horse. Like, it's okay. Like, you might have to pay a little bit of something for them. There was a time where, I don't know, we had 8 or 10 of them geldings in there. We probably had $350 average in them, and that's what we used. And they all had a little something to them. They may buck you off first thing you get on them, or they may have a little navicular. But she's like, hey, we can ride a good horse. Like, it's okay. You don't have to be mad when you get off in the evening.
Yeah. That's what I'm the same way. Shady was like kind of in the cow horse deal, and so we started buying better bred horses and riding us. I'm like, this is kind of fun, It's a lot better than like same deal. I would just buy one worth $1,000, $2,000 or something. Which back then, and I always say this, I probably made the most money on $1,000 horse as far as margin. Right. I could buy $1,000 decent bred green horse or something and work on them for 30 days and sell them for $2,000.
Right. 100% profit.
Yeah. Now we're trying to, buy a $15,000, $20,000 horse and keep them for a year or two and sell them for 30 or 40, you know?
It hopefully.
Yeah. Yeah. Or they can still get crippled or,
that's right.
Whatever happens to them.
She talked me into buying a stud up there. We bought a stud off of a place in Canada, and went to breeding some of them mares. And Dad, he's always been like anti-breeding them riding horses. He's like, man, we can buy them cheaper. And I said, yeah, but I don't want to get on them Elkhart horses anymore. Like, I'm over it,
What he's not telling you is Ronnie Rice was our neighbor for probably 10 years. Well, he went over and rode with Ronnie every day, so that helped his ability to, when I bought them $350 horses, to knock them around a little bit, knew how to kind of get by them.
Yeah. Did you just bring them home and you're like, hey, this horse needs to be rode a little bit here?
Yeah, give him a shot of Combiotic and let's see what he's going to be about. And I'd be a kid too. I remember getting on them things. Oh my gosh. There was one particular story. He bought a big sorrel ball face gelding, and we were going to New Canaan to the Region 9 rodeo after we'd already had either a CT all weekend or another amateur rodeo. I can't remember. And we'd never done it. And I was a kid, and I was 12 or 13, and I'm in a big, stout, raw bone, a good, pretty gelding. Well, at New Canaan, there was just there wasn't a return alley, but on that end, it was just one pen. So it wasn't nothing. I just going to ride in there and was going to bring him calves out so we could repin them for the rodeo that day. And I ride in there, and this sucker comes untrained. I mean, them calves got getting under him, and it scared me to death. So they joked with me. They're like, man, what's on that? Where's that panic button at on that saddle horn? I was like, we could hear you panicking. So ever since then, they're like, what are you doing, old panic button? Because I said I hit that panic button on that saddle horn, want some relief, boy. I'm trying to get away from
Somebody
that sucker.
Come save
Somebody
me.
come help me.
Going back to the wives, when I first started, me and my wife, we done them RA rodeos, and there was a family, the Grissets were a big part of our rodeo deal, but like I said, going back to wives, I mean, I burn her out. I burn her out.
She didn't get over it either. We turned her out for a minute, but she didn't come back craving it again.
You got domesticated.
That's right. Well, she still goes and does, but she definitely doesn't have the heart about it she used to.
Right. Yeah. And y'all's, I mean, kind of the whole champion family is all involved in rodeo in some way, huh?
And it, everything we do is family, whether it's nieces, nephews, cousins, uncles, it don't matter.
Or have a family involved with us. You know,
Mm-hmm.
if a dad works, then his kids come work and do, and it's most time within outside of which our family probably consists of 75% of our help, and then outside of that, it's families. The families that come and do, and either their wives keep time or like my wife or my mom's secretaries most of the time, or we have another lady in North Texas that secretaries for us, and but there's something for everybody to do. There's pictures of me whenever I was in diapers and at the wire rodeos, and I had a hot shot, and mom was keeping cattle pushed up, loaded cattle, and then dad was in the front doing whatever he had to do, and it is what it is.
Yeah.
We did what we had to do.
That's a big thing. Like people talk about the work-life balance or whatever, and I think it's just like it needs to be integrated. Like I want to work and life to be the same. Family be able to come or not come, and be a little bit more flexible. It's more fun to do it with your friends and family, especially if you're working hard. You're going to get burned out. If you can't have some relief there.
Well, and going back from those days to now, where we're at, like so our family is blessed to be a major part of the Dallas, the State Fair of Texas. So we're there for 4 weekends, starting at a YRA rodeo in Conroe, to taking care of all the livestock end of the helping with the production end at the State Fair of Texas. That's a big to do, and to not be a have a PRCA card, or to be a professional, if you want to call it a professional rodeo outfit. Mm-hmm. We're blessed to be able to do those things.
Yeah.
Well, and a lot of ours, my goal was to have a rodeo that paid out $100,000, and well, man, we've passed that up, way back. And we, nearly got to $160,000 or $70,000 rodeos, and there's a lot amateur rodeos, and there's a lot of pro rodeos that don't. A lot of them don't get to there,
Mm-hmm.
So, it was a pretty tough goal for a while to get to that point,
right?
But we got there.
That's what I was saying earlier. Like most people quit,
Yeah.
That's kind of like I heard Jocko Willink talking about it one time about being a Navy SEAL, and he's like, I figured out that all you had to do in Navy SEAL school was not quit. He's like, you didn't have to be like outstanding or good or like nothing like that. You just had to just show up and not quit, which most people, drop out. There's a very low rate of success there, but those guys don't have to. At some point, I guess there's some kind of test and stuff you have to pass. But he said that particular part, it was just stay hooked.
A mindset.
Yeah,
just a mindset, and it's still to this day, it's not easy. There's been times, and even recent times, where we're like, we're done with this. Let's throw our hands up. Let's go buy a beach house or a lake house or a boat or something,
Yeah.
But man, there's a reason this deal stayed hooked and stays around.
Mm-hmm.
It's just because every time you step out away from it, it's like this year I've been working a whole bunch, so I missed a couple of rodeos, and I was like, man, golly, this is nice. I kind of enjoy myself, and then I'm like, no, this isn't me. You know, it's bred in me, I guess, which with my name, I didn't have a lot of choice, but, and then my poor boys, I don't know if you know this, but my oldest boy's name is reigning champion. And then my middle boy's roping champion, and my youngest boy's riding rank champion. So, and then my sister's I'm a derby.
Yeah.
So it's, y'all
played on the champion name.
Yeah. We're kind of stuck.
Yeah. Yeah. It's addicting. I'd like, especially now that I don't go, like it's not as big on my income to go hustle up day work and stuff. Like it's fun for me to go.
Yes, you enjoy
day
it.
work. Yeah. And I always have like my birthday or holiday rolls around, like I'd rather go work cows than do anything else, you know? Or if you go to the beach or something, I'm ready to get home and get back on a horse or do something.
That's kind of like me. I want to go pick up bucking horses. It's like, man, it's a craving. I mean, it's just to make those horses do what you want them to do, and then for everything to flow right. There's no other feeling in the world like it. To me, there's no other feeling in the world like it. I mean, it's awesome.
Yeah, and it's probably a lot of people sitting in the stands don't see that, like all the stuff that goes into where the pickup man sits and what it makes that horse or bull do, you know, and learning the different, what the horse is going to do and all that stuff.
Yeah. I love going to other people's rodeos, not because of it's not ours or I can relax, because I don't ever relax at a rodeo because my mind's always running. But it's a game to me whenever their bucking horses are bucking that I've never seen in the world. I mean, I've never seen those horses. But if I can make those horses do what I want to do and make it flow correctly, then that's what I get out of it. Nothing else means anything. But I know like you said, nobody else will really realize it most of the time or know. Yeah. But I do. You know, and that's a lot of times we do it because it makes us feel good. You know, that's why we do anything. But,
and like you said, that's to get an animal to do what you want, whether it's out in the pasture, in the pen, or, you know, especially when you're on another horse. It's just, I don't know, there's something about that.
Reading animals is the biggest thing in what we do. And that's what we tell our bullfighters all the time. There's a lot of bullfighters we've got that, man, they didn't come from any kind of background, but they're tough, little gritty fellas, and they're fast, and they're good on their feet, and athletes, and they start doing it. But until you can sort calf number 12 right there out of 20 other calves and look for his ear tag and figure out how to make him go up that chute without anybody else. I mean, something as simple as that.
Yeah.
You know, you can't fight bulls. I mean, so you can learn to read an animal or read a people and animals at the same time, you know, especially with what we do. Because you got, man, is this dude fixing to check out, or what's he fixing to do?
Fixing to jump off on
you. I mean, what's fixing to go on? But it's a lot of that.
Yeah. I think I've been around, like, people getting started. They want to get started in some event, you know, with the horse and the cow, you know, and it's like, you need to get a foot back here in the pen and, like you said, learn how to sort one off and like just read, which I feel like it kind of hurts me sometimes. I get to, you know, with my horsemanship, trying to let the horse do it when you're on one of them cow horses, and you're trying to do it up there too. You know, somebody said, like, you know, you got more cow than the horse does or whatever, acting like it. But it's an art form. Yeah. Whether you're doing a horseback or a foot. I wanted to ask you kind of like the business side of that, how that livestock, like how you looked at that livestock, because you're having to go buy stock, and then you're going to try to make it cash flow, and then at the end, I guess, cash out in some way. It'd be, I think it'd be similar to ranching in that aspect, but how is it similar and different, I guess, at the same time, as like just if you were going to go ranch that stock? If you didn't hear Ben Hell's story on episode 69, you need to check it out. He's been earning trust in the cattle industry one handshake at a time since 1995 at Western Livestock. Western Livestock is proud to be family owned and operated, now with 5 locations: Oklahoma City, Woodward, Comanche, and Waurika, Oklahoma, and also Knoxville, Iowa. They're proud to do business the Western way, with honesty, integrity, and a handshake that still means something. You can join them ringside or stream their sales from wherever you are. Western Livestock, where a handshake is their word, cattle are money, and timing is everything. If you're looking to buy or sell, contact Ben Hale at 940-631-BEEF. That's 940-631-2333. Check them out on Facebook or westernlivestock.com. Western Livestock is now accepting consignments for their September 20th horse sale in Woodward, Oklahoma. Visit westernlivestock.com to learn more.
Well, everything has changed with times. You know, when we was raising bulls, we'd buck them bulls all year, or horses sometimes, but mainly the bulls, and then we sell them at the end of the year because the next year we had another crop coming. That was kind of a big part of the income, you know.
I would rope them as calves to begin with, too.
Well, they some of them might have got roped, yeah, but but yeah, but now it's kind of changed because we don't raise the bulls and the horses. You know, when you raise them and you got a good one, you're not going to get rid of him because you need him, you know, or her or whatever it is. But so you just pretty much have to. Your income's pretty much depending on your rodeos, you know, because you got to feed them all year. You know, it's not like a cow. You know, my cows, they're turned out and, you know, they just eat grass in the summer and then, you know, I tend to them in the winter. I mean, other than mineral and stuff like that. But, you know, but this bucking stock, they get fed every day, you know. They're
whether you have a rodeo or not.
Yeah, they're you know, and that's, you know, the PETA stuff and all that. People have no idea how good a care them animals get.
Mm-hmm.
They eat before we do, you know, and they get doctored if they need doctoring, you know, or I mean, people they have no idea how good a care they get, and how much money we spend on them.
Right. Yeah. I mean, you see a lot of people go broke, like just trying to keep it going or whatever, even though knowing it's a bad business.
Exactly.
Do you have can you look at that and like know how many rodeos you got to have? I need to book this many rodeos through the year to kind of make your income or at least cover expenses or whatever.
Right. Yes. You know, we're pretty fortunate because we, you know, a lot of times we have the same rodeos or you know, you're going to lose some and you're going to gain some. And like this next year, we probably have 4 new rodeos coming, at least 4. And, you know, so that's just going to be a plus to what we've already got. So we know what we've already got, you know, for next year. And so it's kind of easy to budget or whatever you want to call it, you know, because you already kind of know what you've got next year.
Right.
And what it costs to feed. Yeah. What it costs to feed. I mean, I know exactly what it costs to feed, you know, for a year and fertilize and, you know, it's all, I mean, cause we've done it so long now, you know, till, and I used to have a big place when we was at the mine, it was about 2,500 acres, and I'd run horses on half of it and cattle on the other half. And I always kept bulls there at my house just so I could kind of keep them corralled. And couldn't do that very good sometimes because my neighbors always called.
You have to have good neighbors.
But
going back to what you were asking about with the ranching part of it and on that side, so that's a lot of the reason why we got away from necessarily owning the timed event cattle, because now, in the past couple of years, they're so expensive. But like we've got a calf guy, Jeff Yates, that tends to the calves. Well, he does that for a living, so he's basically a yearling guy, but he just buys them really, really light. So and then he grows them, so he's in that business, so he's always looking at them. So it's more beneficial to us to keep good cattle for our contestants, because if we were having to buy these high dollar things, we would stretch them out a little bit further, maybe get an extra run out of them, or they may be a little bit too big to try to make it all work, because we got to get them to a weight to where they're worth us selling. Same thing with the steers. Most of the time with a core any steer and in-branded steer, when you're done with them, I mean,
they're worth nothing.
There's not a lot. I mean, more now in the past couple of years than they ever have been. But I mean, even then, it's a risk. It's a break-even deal. I mean, even if you send them to feed, it's like, man, I hope I can find somebody to buy these in-branded things, you know, just because of the type of cattle that they are. Not that they're the good beef cattle, but that's why we have a steer guy. Well, he has the bullhogging steers, but the roping steers and the calves, we try to keep a consistent guy that takes care of us. Yeah. But we take care of them too. I mean, it's a give and take.
Just try to niche down and focus on what y'all want to focus on.
Yes. And raising them bucking horses and things, we raise probably 10 to 12 a year, but we raise them for personal use. We're not raising them, like you said, we're not raising them to resell. So we don't have to, we don't have to breed 100 mares a year or whatever. But it is important that we got our breeding deal right, because when we need those 10 or 12 to buck, they kind of, we need 80% of them to fire.
Right.
So that is important.
And y'all, on that side, when y'all are breeding for that, like, are you wanting, I mean, obviously you want the best you can get, but like for y'all's rodeos, you can't, like you said, you can't have a eliminator bronc or eliminator bull. Like, so you try to breed for kind of like middle of the road.
Middle of the road. That's exactly right.
And if one gets a little better that can go on to somebody else to make that big money, then that's fine. That animal deserves to do that. We will let them go on. But for the most part, if they're friendly for our guys, we're going to try to keep them, because they want to get on a buck at our deals too, just the same.
Right.
And we get a lot of the same guys. in the spring, we get all those guys with the names. And then whenever they leave in the summertime, they kind of go away. And then coming back in the fall, the end of August, September, whenever kind of guys aren't doing as good, they're going to come back, try to make the UPRA finals. Then we're going to start seeing those guys come back. It's important to have something good for them to get on, or to rope, or to bulldog. The barrel racing, something we hadn't talked about is in our business too, is the barrel racing.
Yeah,
I mean, man, and the breakaway open, those girls are, that's one of the two of the highest paying events that we have at a rodeo now. I mean, you're getting 120 or 30.
Oh, I saw it. Yeah, I saw it at Stanford. The slack list of the breakaway ropers was like, holy crap, there's, like you said, 120 or something.
It's unreal.
We had 168 in Amarillo. Paid $8,100 to win first in the breakaway race.
Oh, my goodness.
I think 8th hole paid like $1,350.
Yeah. 10th hole.
10th hole. Sorry. It was getting it on.
Yeah.
Getting it on.
That's crazy how much that's grown.
Yeah. Yeah. But what I was getting at with the barrel racing is taking care of those girls. We try to drag at 5, and those are little things that get overlooked.
Mm-hmm.
Even from the committee doesn't, sometimes they don't get that. Those are just small things that the naked eye on the outside wouldn't never know or never see.
Yeah. And I'm sure, I mean, like you said, I guess everything's different, or every rodeo is different, but I mean, a lot of times you don't have control. They're going to grab out the ground or whatever. Like, that's not, y'all can't really do a whole lot about that.
Yeah. And we try to make everybody happy. You're never going to. It's never going to happen. I don't care what you do. I don't care if you're walking down the street, you're going to make somebody mad.
Yeah.
but we do try to do, we definitely not voice our opinion, but we do share our outlook on things with the committees. And man, if it doesn't work this year, we're going to try to do something next year.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing that we try to say, we guarantee, is that if it don't work this time, it won't happen again.
Yeah, we're gonna try it and test it out, but
that's
if
right.
it don't work, we're not gonna keep doing it.
That's like if we rope a set of calves or something, or a set of steers, even though we're leasing them, man, if they're not good here, most of the time, if one of them's sorry, they all need to be sorry so that they're even.
Yeah.
Or if one's good, they all need to be good, and that's what we tell them guys, that if they come up and grab, and they know. I mean, 90% of those guys know, and will say, "Get through this weekend, you won't ever see them again." I mean,
yeah, and I know. I saw some people talking about on Facebook about this year with the cattle prices being so high. It's like, you better get ready to,
start roping some junk.
Yeah, you're gonna have to keep it a little bit longer or whatever.
That's right.
And less. I mean, I guess you're not gonna have the inbreds coming, and there's less and less native horn cattle. It seems like everybody's puts beef bulls
on them, and even the natives. So, going back to talking about my wife being from Canada, so they had a horn sale this spring, and they had some of those horn cattle that they were not quite ready to rope. They were calling them potentials. Potential to ready. They bring $3,200 around because, they can't get inbreds up there. So they're buying natives. Well, they ain't there. And you look at all the sales going up north, them backhorn, longhorns, and things but you can rope them, $1,700, $1,800 around. It's unreal.
Yeah, that's crazy.
I never would pay attention to stuff like that if I wasn't married to her, but I do, and I look at northern things compared to southern things.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
Yeah, I think even now, that when I bought my cows, that first crop, I had a bunch of calves that were full, longhorns or Corrientes, and back then they were worth a few $100 or something. Basically giving them away, and now. That's what somebody was talking about, something to rope at those sale barns and stuff, and just a longhorn at the sale barn, like $1,000 or something.
It's a shame, though. It's a shame guys that had those cattle a year and a half, 2 years ago, didn't realize what this was fixed to do, and they went and turned them black Corriente bulls back on them cows.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. But also, I mean, I sold some $2,000 calves
off of it.
Yeah. So it's I don't know. It fluctuates. The deal about the horn cattle is like, it's not exactly goes with the cattle market. It does a little bit, but it also is supply and demand.
Yes.
Yeah.
In that market, so you're kind of insulated from the ups and downs, I guess. I got some wrap up questions for you, and I'm going to put y'all on the spot here. What's your favorite rodeo?
Man, all of them. Mm-hmm. Really. I mean, we enjoy all of them. Like I said, Henrietta, it's it's a standout. All of them, really.
It's tough. It's tough to pick. I've got 3 that are at the top of my list, but it's hard to say those 3. I mean, I really like the one in Iowa. I've been going to it for about 12 years, and I've learned so much from that rodeo that I can bring south and help, or kind of help with some of these rodeos. But man, you got Henrietta and O'Donnell, and we go to Nocona. I mean, there's every rodeo that we have is different. So it's like, man, I want to go there and I want to say that's my favorite rodeo, but then you go the next weekend and you go to another one. And I mean, it's like they all have their own deal about them. That's
Mount Vernon, this one we've kind of grew it. It went from $20,000 payout to nearly $100,000 payout. So there's just so many, that it's hard to.
And if it's not a good, like, what would make it not good? Like, what would make y'all quit? Like, just the committee, the people to deal with, or something? Or did y'all quit any?
I don't think we've never quit one.
Yeah, not really.
We made it better, but we hadn't quit it. So long as they're willing,
right?
And most everybody's in this to get better,
right?
Nobody starts, like, there's been a lot of rodeos that
I did quit one because they give me a hot check.
Yeah,
but they don't even have that was the last they had a rodeo.
Yeah.
So.
What about, like, what's the highest paying rodeo that y'all do? Like the highest payout rodeo?
Probably Amarillo this year. Yeah, Eastland. Billy Bob Brown done a deal in Eastland, and then lost the arena and couldn't have it, but that was probably the biggest payout.
Yeah, it looked like he'd built that up pretty good.
Yes, that was a very good rodeo.
He did.
And I think he pretty much, him and his mom and dad pretty much was the committee, and they done an outstanding job. Yeah.
What about Amarillo? Is it, they get I can't even remember, I hadn't been so long, but like, I know they get a lot of entries. They also get a whole bunch of added money too.
The added money's not that big. I want to say 15,000 all they add, but they just get so many entries, till it.
Well, and it's a good time of the year.
Yeah.
When you have eight UPRI rodeos, and then the association adds a bonus to the highest money earner in that event for each rodeo.
Right.
I mean, for the total of those 8 rodeos.
Yeah.
That helps a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And we're blessed to have that association that works with us.
Yeah.
That tries to build and tries to help, where they understand not everybody, not every committee can do the things they want to do. So that's good to give back.
Yeah, and they set that deal up. Like I said, that time I went was like, I think we went to Amarillo on Tuesday or something, and then go to like Wellington and Canadian, and then come down to Stanford and end up in T.
Yes.
Yeah.
I know we kind of talked about this before we started. Like, what do y'all listen to? You're on the road a lot. You listen to a lot of podcasts.
I do. I don't. Whoever rides with me, I don't turn the radio on.
Yeah.
I listen to podcasts, and that's the most of what one of them talk shows or something.
What do you listen to?
All of them. I mean, I do. I listen to all of them. Your deal, Ty and M's deal, Dale's deal. I might just whatever I hadn't heard.
Mm-hmm. What about you?
It varies. That's crazy. But so when we were driving a lot at night, I used to listen to dubstep music. So, and if somebody was riding with me, we'd be tired.
Yeah.
4 or 5 days of it, and I'd blare that crazy, and you don't even know what it's going on, but it's just something. And they'd say, man, we'd be going 80 miles down the road, and they'd say, we're going to get out on the running board here to run a while. This just got us hyped up. But that's whenever I was kind of out of college, but I've gotten into the motivational speaking. Like, I listened to Les, I can't think of his name, and then Zig Ziglar. Just a lot of Zig Ziglar, and I like anytime they put them together. And I'm driven off of like beats. So
when they do those like the compilation deals with the background music,
absolutely, man, I love that. And I've seen them do it with podcasts, like where somebody talks and then they go into a motivational speaker, and man, it gets my heart thumping, man. It's kind of like the first. It's kind of like the first song for their fixing to buck that first bareback horse. Like, my heart gets to thumping, them horses' hearts gets to thumping, and I can make myself do crazy things just driving down the road.
Yeah, I think that's that's what I used to do. Like driving all the time would be rocking out or something, you know, windows down, you're trying to stay awake.
Yeah.
And then I go back and forth, but sometimes listening to just a slow talking podcast, just like get your mind engaged, will keep you going. Or I've found also too, if that's not working, listening to comedy, some of those funny guys will get you.
Steve Harvey gets me good.
And I've started listening to those or watching those deals on YouTube sometimes. Like that's like you said, it's pretty good. Like they got that background music going and the clips like Conor McGregor and Steve Harvey and like all these different guys doing motivational stuff. Yeah. It's pretty good. What advice would y'all have for somebody getting started in ranching or in the rodeo business?
Have plenty of money to get started. You know, have plenty of money.
You think you're going to have to like go backwards for a little while before you can actually start becoming profitable?
Oh yeah. Yeah, you're definitely going to do that. Mm-hmm. That's for sure.
The joke is like in the rodeo business is you have to have something behind it that's paying for it, that's floating the bills. And that's anything that we do, I feel like. You know, like I day work and then I have a ranch job where I work at those sale barns in order to be able to go to the things that I want to do, to have that little extra, because there's a lot of times that we break even or lose a little bit to try to make a deal work to help it grow.
Mm-hmm.
And my granddad, he told me years ago, he said, man, I wish you would just get it, go work for a good, which he was a local man. He said, I wish you just go get you a good business with benefits and get away from all this. Deep down in his heart, that is not at all what he wanted to tell me. But he did nonetheless. And I said, Pop, I can make a living doing this, and I'm gonna show you.
Yeah.
He's like, that's not the point, you know. I'm not saying you
can do it. It's just not easy.
He's like, just make it easy on yourself. Like, just make it easy on yourself. But the main thing is like when you're getting started is never let nobody tell you can't do something. You know, never let anybody tell you that you can't do something. And be careful taking people's hints, because some people won't directly tell you that, but they hint around to it. And I take a lot of things to heart. Like I carry my feelings on my shoulders, and I got to be careful. But grow from that. Grow from that too. Grow from what somebody tells you that you can't do. Mm-hmm. But yes, it does take money, and yes, it is tough, and it's tough to get your hands on money nowadays. But at the same time, you want to do something bad enough, you can figure it out. And I'll guarantee you, God always opens a door. I mean, I have no doubts about that. God's opened so many doors for our family and for myself personally. Mm-hmm. But if you don't ask, you don't get it. You know, and that's just like if you don't go talk to that banker, he's not going to come offer you the money.
Yeah.
So I mean, you know, but if you love something, do it and stay with it. Don't quit it.
Yeah.
If you love it and you dearly love it, don't, because I can't tell you how many guys that I've seen that's fought bulls or that's picked up or whatever, and man, they went and got them they got older, and they didn't need to be doing necessarily that anymore, but they didn't want to get away from the rodeo deal either, you know, and they hate that they did, and they come back and they love whenever they're there, but they're like, dang, but that job pays so good.
Yeah.
But don't quit it. You know, we're only on this earth for so long anyways. Do what you love what you do.
Mm-hmm.
And if you don't love what you do something else. There's something out there that you'll find.
Yeah.
But biggest thing is take that jump. You want to start something, take that jump. You know, leap.
Yeah.
And you're going to fail. We all know that. You're going to fail. You're probably going to fail more than once. You may fail. I'm still failing. I mean, I fail daily, you know, whether it's being a father or picking up or being a husband or a son or whatever, or in business. I mean, you know, I've learned so much. I'll buy and trade them the little cows or goats or whatever. And I'm like, you sell them and then you buy some back and you're like, man, I should have probably kept those that I had. Learn from failures.
Yeah.
Learn from failures. And if you want to start something, start it. Do it. Get after it. I mean, but like I said, when you start something, jump. Get off in it. Don't put your toe in it and test the waters, because it won't work.
Yeah. I think that's a big thing is the mindset. A lot of people talk about it all the time about mindset, and it's like, well, I need some other stuff too. I mean, mindset's a huge part of it. Like you said, you got to be able to to commit yourself to it and then not quit when it gets tough. And then when you fail, because like you said, you're gonna fail when you start something new. And I heard somebody talking about this the other day of some statistic. I don't remember the numbers, but the number of new things that somebody tries from like 18 to 30 is like, a tiny fraction of what you try from when you're like 8 to 18, because kids are always going and doing new stuff. And then as an adult, you think, I'm pretty good at this, or I'm around this, I'm just going to go down this path. And then even if you're not happy, you still go down the path. And, everybody gets scared to jump off in something new, try something new, look like an idiot for a while and fail for a while, go backwards for a while before you go forward, even though it might be your calling or,
Right.
What Colonel Sanders was like 62 or mid to late 60s or something whenever he started KFC, and look what it is now.
Mm-hmm.
It's about a legacy. I mean, and human nature, we do things because we want to hear our name called out, we want to be appreciated, but that's deep down, that's not why we do this. We do it because we're doing it for ourselves, because we want to, or want it for our family or whatever.
Yeah.
Hardest thing for me is my boys is because like they love sports. Man, I'm 5'3", I'm 200 pounds. I was not made to play any sport. Maybe throw shot put or something. I don't know. But, so like I do what I do, and my boys are athletes, and they're going to be big and tall, but they're catching the bug, and it's so hard for me to understand, but I have to.
Yeah.
I mean, I have to. And, but they all love to ride, and they love a horse, they love a cow, they love chasing goats. I mean, but.
Yeah, I like what you said. Like you got to love it and like not take like that first rejection or first failure, and be able to move on from that, and then like just be resourceful. Yeah. Like I see so many people want to stop at the first sign of no or the first failure or whatever. It's like, no, or they, I don't have any land to lease, or I don't own any land to start ranching, or I don't know anybody in the rodeo business, or, whatever it is. You just come up with all these excuses. Like, well, you're right. That's how you're going to look at it. Or you can say, I'm going to do this, and I'm going to go ask every person I know and every person I can find and talk to until I can get it done.
So I watch some homestead deals, and folks will be on 5 or 6 acres. They may have 25 cows, 5 or 6 pigs. I mean, I watch things like that because you can learn from those people. And me thinking like I own 80 acres right there in Mahia, and I'm like, man, I just don't have enough country to do what I want to do. You can do whatever you want to do, wherever you want to do, And I mean, like I said, going back to that, those people they got more than I could ever think about having, and they got 5 or 6 acres because they wanted to, and they figured out how to make it work, And that's what we have to do. We just got to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, just commit yourself to it. And figure it out.
Have a plan.
Yeah, have a plan. Yeah, have a plan.
And all y'all's worldly travels, what's your favorite restaurants?
Papa Do's.
Papa Do's. Yeah.
Both y'all?
Yeah, you can't go wrong with Papa Do's.
Probably not many Papa Do's at all the little amateur rodeos y'all do either.
No. But we go like, Dallas, we'll eat there several times because we're there for so long. But Conroe, they have one.
But that Papa Do's, that's pretty good.
Mm-hmm. How can people get a hold of y'all if they want y'all to put on a rodeo or ask questions about it or get into it or something like that?
So I just started a Champ Rodeo Company TikTok. I had my own TikTok, and then I started a Champ Rodeo Company TikTok. Message me on there. They can message us on Champ Rodeo Company Facebook. I don't think we have an Instagram. If we do, the girls tend to it. I don't know how to do all that. But the Instagram, but they take care of the Facebook too. But we got obviously our phones. They can give us a call or text us, or there's a couple emails. I can give them to you or whatever. You can put them on here. But that's the easiest way. He's pretty old school. Pretty much give him a call, and as long as his phone don't say spam, he'll answer it.
Yeah. Yeah, you get so many spam calls now.
Oh man, it's crazy.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank y'all for coming on. I knew there's lots of history behind it.
And there's so much that we didn't cover, but there's only so much time a day. But we appreciate the opportunity to come on here.
Yeah. Well, thank y'all. If y'all, like I said, if y'all want to learn more about the business, or if y'all want a rodeo put on in your town, or help with the contract and the stock side of it, or whatever, y'all reach out to them on their social media, and I'm sure they'll be glad to help. And see y'all next time.